For my presentation, I decided to do a lesson on the book The Name Jar, and it follows a young girl who just moved from out of the country, and she has a name that's hard to pronounce and spell, and this was personally relevant to me because I've always had a name that is hard for people to spell and pronounce because it's Swedish. And she comes to this new school and her classmates make fun of her name, and so she's almost ashamed of her culture. And she starts a jar of American names that she goes by each week, and her classmates find this funny and interesting, so they start putting names in the jar that she'll go by. And she meets a friend named Joey who learns the meaning of her name, understands her real name, and helps her appreciate all that it means. And so her classmates start to learn this, and she appreciates why she's unique and why she has that name. And so for my lesson, I wanted to have students create their own name jars with decorated things for however they wanted. So for me, I drew my name along the side, and then I drew all the states that I've lived in because I think that's pretty unique. I've moved 3 or 4 times. I was born in Michigan, so I drew Michigan, and then I moved to Texas. I drew that in Georgia, and then I kind of just drew a couple things that I like that make me proud of myself. I drew a volleyball and then a pencil to just represent my major, that I'm going to be a teacher one day, and kind of just decorated it with hearts to add light and joy into the name jar. And along with the name jar, students will have a sheet that they write these terms that kind of represent who they are and what makes them proud of themselves and unique. So I wrote all of the states that I have lived in. I wrote that I'm Swedish, Finnish, and Polish, and then I kind of just really thought about qualities that make me proud of who I am, and so I wrote that I was outgoing, genuine, loyal. And what students will do after is they'll cut out all of these and put them in their cup and keep their cup. They can decorate it however we want. My inspiration for this video was our name tags at the beginning of the year, kind of, where we just had to draw a quote and something that we think represents us that we like. So I did this, and then I also had my boyfriend do a cup just to have another example, and he wrote his name on the front, his nickname, and he drew a fish. He loves to fish. Georgia Southern logo, the Ducks Unlimited logo, because he's all about wildlife conservation and he likes duck hunting. He's a big sports guy, so an Atlanta Braves logo. Georgia boy, he was born and raised in Georgia, so he drew that. And then for some of his words, he wrote funny, brave. He's very family oriented, energetic. He's an outdoorsman. He's tall. And again, he's a Georgia boy, kind and very fair, just non-judgmental, and that makes him proud of himself. So he wrote down all the things that make him unique and proud to be who he is. And so he would also cut those out and put them in the cup. And a representation of the book, I ordered a book like 2 weeks ago and it hasn't come in. And so you can see the cover of the book right here. It's the protagonist, and she's in front of her name jar putting all the names in. And so I thought this was just a really cool way for students to get creative and really reflect on who they are and what makes them proud of themselves. And along with being personally relevant, I think that the book is extremely culturally relevant because it shows friendship and it allows students, young students, to learn how to build these relationships. And we see so many diverse classrooms nowadays, whether that's ethnic, religious, just everybody comes from different backgrounds and we have no idea. So I thought this was just a really good way for students to get to know their peers and to just really appreciate who they are and what sets them aside from their other classmates.